You have to use words. You can't just make faces. Faces do not translate into sound. Not at this time. We don't have the technology for that. Welcome to Read It and Screech.
The podcast for the king.
Say it loud.
The podcast for the king.
For Z King.
Z King. I hate it. It's so horrible.
If you're too loud, you can sit with us while I give the Cliff's notes and the cringiest quotes, and we go screeching all the way. I'm Grace, and this is my co-host, Ava. By the way, this was the worst book I've read so far. It was horrible. It was a waste of space. Trees died. Trees died in the making of this book.
Trees died in the making of every book.
Worse for this one. The book is called Corrupt. It's written by Penelope Douglas, who also wrote Credence. I almost covered Credence, but it was too boring to get past the first 2 chapters. In Depth went to one of those weird sweets candy shops, like at the beach, where it's like Sugarland or whatever.
Yeah, I like to go to those because
I know.
one time I went to
maybe
one
you would
and
like Credence, where her uncle does it and then he fucks her.
Okay, I like it because they have a kiss and pull taffy machine that wraps them, and it was 100 years old, and I watched it for an hour.
Well, the girl who was from the Credence book, her uncle was fucking her during that time.
Okay, well, that's not what happened to me.
Okay, it has 518 pages. The audio was 14 hours and 37 minutes.
Oh my god.
It is narrated by Tatiana Sokolov and Jeremy York. It has 3.8 on Goodreads. Generous.
Have you not seen the controversy on Goodreads? 2 things. 1, apparently people will go on there and write like hundreds and hundreds of reviews for themselves to like either tank other people's reviews or fix their own. Number 1. Number 2.
That is answering a lot of questions.
Right. And then also, apparently, people who are like, oh, I made it on the New York Times bestseller list.
Buy their own books?
They will buy hordes of their own books. Their house will be full.
They do.
You wouldn't catch me dead. I don't know if it's just like...
Apparently, you don't have to buy that many, like, sell that many books to be a New York bestseller. So they have 500? Order 500. And then they'll have to, like, resell them, drop ship them to their readers.
Like afterwards, they'll be like selling them from their house because they already bought too many or like whatever. That's why like when you see them doing like live streams, there'll be like a shelf full of them behind them because they already bought a shitload. And I'm just like, or that's why they sign a bunch of them and then go sell the copies. If I was an author, I wouldn't do any of that shit. I'd be like, I guess if you buy it, you buy it. It's not like when politicians put themselves up for and then vote for themselves. That's embarrassing. I think that's embarrassing.
It's a strategy.
I think it's embarrassing.
What if you lost by 1 vote?
Literally, I'd be a horrible politician because in my head,
You'd be like, oh, I don't want to make them feel bad, I guess.
Right. If I was a politician, since I was a child, I've always been like, yeah, no, I'd vote for the other guy, though, when I got to the booth. Because voting for myself seems so embarrassing.
Voting is confidential.
It's embarrassing to me.
I don't think you know what
I'd
embarrassing
be like,
means.
Yeah, no, I went up in there and I voted for the other guy, though.
The setting is Thunder Bay, not a water park, unfortunately. There are 2 timelines. She jumps back and forth, but I do what I usually do. And I'll give you the first timeline and the second timeline chronologically. The first one is high school. The notable part of this is that during the high school timeline, it's centered around a group of 4 douchebags called the 4 Horsemen. Side note, when I was in high school, a group of kids did that and they called themselves the Sexy 6.
I hate this already.
They're like a little gaggle of ne'er-do-wells who still let around the high school to get like sophomore, junior puss because they can't snag anybody in college.
That is fucking disgusting.
It is foul. By the way, this book itself comes with a massive list of trigger warnings.
But they still wrote it. They wrote this down and they were like, these are sex crimes? Yes.
I'm obviously not going to go in depth in any of that stuff. If you insist on reading it anyway, after all of these dire warnings.
I don't insist. Let's go.
Then I would pay attention to this because it's fucking horrible. Okay. We have...
I want to go home.
3 characters and then like a side part of the gaggle. We have Erica. She's the main girl. She's 19 years old.
I don't want to read shit about anybody named Erica.
No, they call her Rika. So it's better.
Okay, you haven't watched Game of Thrones?
No.
There's this character. They call him Reek.
You know I've never seen Game of Thrones.
I just said you haven't. I'm telling you. Your new name is Reek.
Rika.
Reek.
She's 19 years old, from a rich family, blue eyes, blonde hair, nice legs, huge tits. We have Michael, who is a 6'4" pro basketball player, ? Because the average height of a pro basketball player, I believe, is 6'6", and so 6'4" is short, and he's not a point guard, or else they would have made more of a point about that. So that's just incorrect. We have Trevor, who is some Weasley little shit. He's Michael's little brother, and he's been dating Rika on and off since childhood. And then we have Will, Kai, and Damon. They are the other of the 4 horsemen. So Michael's the main one. Will, Kai, and Damon are like the side 3.
Really? She gave the nice names to the side characters?
I know, Michael.
Michael Scott.
Kai, the only thing you need to know about them is that Kai is the nicest Damon is the worst, and Will might as well be a Kleenex draped over a popsicle stick.
Is he dead?
It just might as well be. Like, he's so bland, blah, whatever. Okay, let's go.
I don't want to.
We start 2 years in the past. She's in high school anticipating a Sadie Hawkins dance.
Oh my god.
She's already avoiding Trevor even now. She bullies a friend into going with her to the dance because she doesn't want to go with Trevor. Class is interrupted by the Four Horsemen. A notorious...
Maybe? Can we just... Take me to hell now.
Could it just be the apocalypse and that's the end of the book? A notorious group of youths who graduated 3 years ago. They snatch some of the students up out of their desks and then leave to take them underage drinking.
And the teachers are just like, go!
That's just them. Their dads are all lawyers, so they can do whatever they want.
That's not how anything works!
Michael, the leader, pauses as if to grab Erica, but the teacher says, she's a minor.
You're always a stupid cunt!
Erica waits a moment and then sneaks out on her own accord. She follows them out to the parking lot, where the adults have already begun handing alcohol out to the teenagers. She overhears one of them say, and I say this in all caps, he misses high school girls because they don't give any lip. To which Michael commiserates that waiting until Erica is legal is going to be hard because she's gotten so hot since he last saw her. We know that they were talking about her, but she doesn't realize that they were talking about her. She sneaks onto the floor of one of their cars and hides down on the floorboard so that she can go with them.
This is a crime.
I'll tell you a story.
I feel like we should be allowed to subpoena the authors of these books based on some of these.
We
And
should sue.
this is
Are you
awful.
Good? Are you good? I'll tell you at the end why this made me even angrier that I had to read it. But
the end. It's all that. That's it. I don't need more.
They discover her in the car and decide that she could stay. They take her to an abandoned church where they are all underage drinking. And after almost no hesitation, Michael gropes her. But they're interrupted by Trevor before they can go make out in the weird catacombs under the church. So Trevor corrals her and brings her back to his parents' house where they drink chocolate milk as a group.
Okay.
Michael pretends not to know who she is in front of his friends. That's okay, though, because Trevor announces to the whole group that she belongs to him over dinner. He says, again in front of everyone, that she would fuck Michael in a heartbeat if he looked at her twice.
Who says that?
Trevor says it to her about his brother. He's like, you'd fuck my brother if he looked at you twice. She gets pissy about this, even though it's very much true.
Wow, heaven forbid. Was this written by a middle schooler?
So she gets pissy, even though this is very much true, and runs through the woods back to her parents' house.
Oh, she has parents? Who knew?
Well, she has a mom. Her dad's dead.
Of course.
And her mom's a drug addict. On the way there, Michael pulls over with his friends and says, get in, bitch, we're doing sex crimes. The first thing they do...
First off, you already did sex crimes. You already did.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So the thing that they're doing, that they've gathered this group of underage people to do, is they basically just do pranks all night because it's Devil's Night.
So you're doing an orgy? What is it?
No. Well, the first thing they do is Michael's prank, so they burn down a crack house.
That's not a sex crime.
Just wait. It's okay, though.
Was her mom in the crack house?
No.
Oh.
It's okay, though, because Michael really hates drugs. Michael is the war on drugs.
Her mom does crack, though, so does that fit into the story?
Her mom doesn't do crack. She does pills.
Oh.
The next prank is Damon's, and apparently it is to have sex with a 16-year-old and film it.
No, my God!
You did not have to put these words on paper.
This is an adult woman. She should go to jail for this. This is not okay. Someone needs to be sent to your home.
The other guys do frown upon...
She got awards for this? No.
She got 3.8 on Goodreads.
Fuck the Goodreads people.
No, I don't know if she got awards. I don't know. The other guys frown upon this behavior.
You think?
It's just a light frowning. They don't confront him about it. Mm-hmm. Will's prank is to beat the shit out of a cop, but it was an abusive cop, so it's fine.
He's like, oh, ACAB is fine.
Mm-hmm. They go to a diner on a quick snack break, and she tells them how this skeezy couple from their high school roofied her at a party. Nothing happened, but it could have, so she was very perturbed by it.
Oh my God.
So they say, well, for your prank, we should beat the shit out of that couple for doing that. And that comes to pass.
Of course.
Right. The next prank is to burn down the gazebo of some girl that Kai has a crush on because she doesn't like him back.
Of course.
Erica does push back on this, but ultimately he does do it. The police are called, but she causes a diversion by breaking the window of her family's jewelry store and snatching up a bunch of the jewelry and running away. The gang, the gaggle, scoops her up a few blocks away, and they decide to end the night by drinking in an abandoned warehouse while listening to Skillet's song Monster.
That is so bad.
So Erica and Michael make out, but he's a gentleman, not a felon.
That's not true.
So he insists that he won't touch her until she's 18. He does tell her to keep this quiet. She's perturbed that he won't prey on her.
He's a felon. He's just not a convicted felon.
And he's very insistent on not being a predator, and he commits to horny simping until she's an adult. She says she's not going to wait around in high school for him, so he throws a gigantic man tantrum and tells her these grapes are sour anyway and stomps off in the rain. She runs outside having her little hissy fit and realizes that she's grabbed the wrong sweatshirt, and the one she grabbed has a phone that they recorded all the felonies on. The boys, minus Michael, pull back around and tell her they'll give her a ride home. They do not, in fact, take her home. Instead, they take her to a weird abandoned place and tell her that in order to be initiated into their weird gang, she has to have sex with all of them, and their dads are all lawyers, so they won't get in trouble for anything they do. There's a lot of groping and mishandling until they finally stop and say that they were just trying to intimidate her and that she should leave them alone instead of following them around like a lost horny puppy.
I hate it.
Intermission note.
What is the...
There might be a lot of plot holes, and that's because I don't care.
When you write a book, there is supposed to be a beginning, a middle, and an end. Like, there's supposed to be a reason. Like, a love story or action adventure. Like, we're getting somewhere, getting there, get to the end, done. What is the purpose for this other than for this person to be like, I want to journal all my gross feelings and make you all feel as shitty as possible.
All my gross feelings.
Glad you came today.
All right.
We got nothing from that.
So that was the past timeline. Actually, the last thing that happens before the end of that, of like the flashback timeline, is that when they wake up the next day, when like Michael and his friends wake up in that warehouse after listening to Skillet's Monster and the underage drinking, someone has posted all of the felonies online. So then all of the three of them, but except for Michael, they all get arrested for their felonies, and he doesn't. So they all have to go to jail for like 3 years, and he just goes about his life. Fast forward to the present. It's the day of a going away party for a family friend. Erica's wearing a dress that she could barely squeeze her giant tits into. She's at the house of Michael's family. They've been close family friends for a long time, and so she's really close with all of them. They have a comically opulent home. She says there are dark deeds and bad seeds in this home.
Oh my God.
She's awkwardly standing alone at this party looking for Michael. Her weird mood is interrupted by her actual wannabe boyfriend, Trevor. Trevor will not let up on her and tries to open mouth wet kiss her.
Ew.
She rejects him, and he sour grapes her and leaves in a huff. She's going to go leave when she makes eye contact with Michael, who isn't wearing a tie to indicate that he does what he wants. He ignores her, and it's her turn to leave in a huff.
She would ignore her too.
Mhm.
She sucks.
She gets home and sees from the driveway that there's a candle burning in her room. Her mom is in a pill-induced stupor. In her room, there's also a little present there with a lit candle. It's a fancy knife and a little note that says, "Beware the fury of a patient man." She freaks out a little.
I wonder who that is.
She freaks out a little and looks out the window and sees 3 guys watching her from the driveway in masks. It's giving Purge. By the time she calls security, they're gone. The next day, she was moved back into her high-rise apartment for school. Turns out there was a merry mix-up. The apartment complex rented out the 1 bedroom she was supposed to have, so they decided to just let her have the penthouse for the rest of her stay for the same price.
Sure, okay.
Don't you hate it when that happens?
Idiot.
Trevor is still being a pissy little bitch about her leaving the party after his wet mouth kiss attempt, but she settles in and then is woken up in the middle of the night by suspicious moaning coming from the empty apartment under her.
Absolutely not.
She goes to investigate and ultimately runs into Michael. He's with a lady and introduces Erica as his little brother's girlfriend.
Ew.
Sorry, as his little brother's little girlfriend. Turns out he lives there too because his family owns the whole building. He checks the apartment that she heard the moaning coming from and then rips into her for being a spoiled brat who dumped his brother. Michael is beating himself up for showing her any common decency in the form of walking her to her apartment.
Bitch, I wouldn't watch you anywhere. What?
The next day, she tries to go and join this exclusive fencing club in the city, but it's men only. Of course, Michael sees her get turned away by the club, and he pulls her to the side so that he and his friends can make her cry before she leaves. When she finally runs off in tears, he makes her let him give her a ride home so he can continue to berate her.
No.
He and his friends huddle about how they're going to get revenge on her.
Okay.
And later on, he gets a hard-on in the middle of the team locker room after basketball practice. After he hides the swollen head of his cock from the teammates in his locker room, Trevor calls to taunt him and tell him that he's going to marry Erica so he can just back off.
Who gives a shit?
And even if Michael does fuck her, he's going to marry her anyway and then make her life miserable for being a hoe.
Hey, if I don't like her, why would I care if you made her life miserable? What?
Erica goes to her first day of class. Damon is standing there with a popsicle stick with a Kleenex draped over it.
No, he is not.
No, he's standing there with Will. They have nothing better to do than to harass a 19-year-old. They tell her that she was never gonna be part of their group.
Oh, shucks. Clearly I made it this far not being a part of it. The fuck's wrong with you?
And they tell her that she was just pussy being groomed the whole time.
Yeah, and look how that turned out.
That was obvious.
Since you're a bunch of groomers.
They make a commotion in the class, and the teacher is kind of an asshole to her. And they tell him to back off because only they are allowed to openly harass her. Her
Wrong.
mom.
I am also allowed to.
She goes home and tries to check in with her mom.
Next
But
thing you know, he's gonna rock up and bite me.
But she doesn't have the number to the satellite phone for the yacht she's supposedly on, so she decides to break into Michael's apartment to find it.
Her mom is now on a yacht. She used to be addicted to pills.
She says, someone tells Erica, your mom's going on a yacht to hang out with Michael's parents because they're all besties. Whatever.
It is exhausting to even be
I'm not even
trying
halfway
to
done.
suspend reality for this person's fucking ridiculous stupidity.
I'm so excited for the next one.
This is horrible.
Michael's apartment has a basketball court in it.
Michael's weenie looks like the guy from Ice Planet Barbarians. Michael
has two wieners like a shark. A double decker.
Michael has more money than God. Michael has
a basketball court in his apartment.
Michael's finger gold comes out when when people try to make the person that they're just literally like
Michael makes champagne instead of semen.
This is the stupidest fucking shit.
Michael's cum is really Cinnabon glaze.
He drives the fanciest kind of sports car. Like, I know that everyone has a sports car, but like his is gold plated. Like,
no one
cares.
So his apartment has a basketball court in it.
Sure does.
Yes,
He's never had a cavity because his teeth were so
He doesn't wear condoms because he has a double-decker wiener and condoms come in a pack of 3, so he always has the wrong amount.
Like, he tried.
The Cinnabon glaze melts through it.
An excuse for everything. Everything about it is perfect.
The gang is all there because she did not bother to see if anyone was home before she broke in. They refuse to give her the phone number unless she comes to a pool party with them.
Bitch!
Michael does a body roll, in parentheses, the worm question mark, on her, and open mouth kisses her, and then...
Why would you describe that in print, though? Like, why would you say that? This is what I want to know.
The worm question mark?
No, like, body roll. Why would you say that?
I don't know.
Gotta know what you were thinking. This is fucking atrocious.
Okay. She leaves to get her swimsuit on for the party.
She should have stayed away. Like, she should have left and then stayed.
At the pool party, there's a lot of horny leering.
At this book.
And the girl who Michael was, like, walking with at the very beginning when he was like, this is my brother's little girlfriend, is there. Her name's Alex. She's proving to be the only level-headed adult in the clusterfuck of a story.
She a teacher?
She reveals to Erica that she's a sex worker.
There it is. Yeah.
She's paying her way through school. Erica does that thing where she's like, I'm not judging you, but you shouldn't do that.
But because I am.
Alex is like, shut up while I get my bag. She proceeds to let Michael go down on her under a little waterfall while Kai watches. Kai tells
First off, probably more than him was watching. Let's just start there.
It's a pool party.
Right.
Kai tells him that he is eating more than his share off of the community plate.
Gross.
Michael goes to his dad, who is, by happenstance, in control of Erica's trust until she turns 25, and asks him to turn control over it to him.
Bitch, what?
Dad sees nothing suspicious about this and agrees.
Okay.
While Michael is leaving this meeting, he gets a call that his buddies have burned her house down to the ground.
As one does.
Like you do. Erica's whole house is burned down. Michael pretends he has no idea how this happened and takes her to a diner so that they can flirt in the most bland Wonder Bread way. Specifically, she goes to the jukebox and she plays songs that remind her of all the people that she knows. And he says, well, what song am I in? And she says, you're in everything. They go back to his house because of the obvious.
But hers is on fire.
And they eat peanut butter pickle sandwiches. And they watch Alien vs. Predator as foreplay.
Neither of those things is foreplay. Those are both horrifying things.
His mom...
aside from your wiener, this is the nastiest thing I've ever put in my mouth.
His mom calls her, and he does not stop fingering her while she talks to her on the phone. She goes to bed, and then he turns off the power to the house and fucks her in his weird mask, like his weird Devil's Night gaggle mask. I am yucking a yum. I think that is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
I don't yuck a yum.
When I was in high school, we would wear like stupid ass horror movie masks, and I kept mine. Probably not washed. Unwashed. And I'm gonna fuck you in it, and it's gonna be so hot for both of us. They fuck. He doesn't come because he doesn't want to climax until she's in a Catholic
He's
school.
saving that cinnamon roll shit.
He doesn't come, however, and that's because he doesn't want to climax until she's in a Catholic schoolgirl uniform and they're trespassing in the church basement.
That is oddly specific and horrifying.
Very specific. Michael has now been avoiding her since his friends burned down her house in their weird crypt fuck. Erica is contemplating calling the police since she hasn't heard from her mom in a month. She goes to Barnes & Noble first and all her cards get declined. All of her accounts are drained. This has never happened to her before. Couldn't be me. This is a good time to have called the police and your mom weeks ago, because maybe she would have been able to help you out. She gets a hold of the secretary of the place that handles the accounts, and that lady tells her that it was Michael who has taken control of the accounts and drained them. So she storms into the club where all the boys are eating and throws a hissy fit about it. Michael has taken all of her family's money and distributed it amongst his friends. They laugh at her and tell her she has to meet them at his parents' house. It dawns on her that her mom is not on a yacht with Michael's parents.
Jesus.
She goes to the house, for which they call her stupid, and heavily imply that they're going to assault her. They grope her for like 10 minutes while she asks them what they want from her.
Well, they already took all her money, so what do they want?
They tell her that they want payback for time served, and they tell her that she belongs to them and that she's going to have to fuck them all if she wants her money back. In the midst of all of it, she stabs Damon and runs out of the house.
Same.
She realizes that she has no money and no prospects and is already a burden to her parents.
Not really, but okay.
And decides she's going to fight them all about it. Michael starts to have second thoughts about forcing her into sex work to get her stolen money back and is secretly relieved that she stabbed his friend. Erica turns on the home intercom and starts taunting them. They are trying to act big and bad. Meanwhile, they're all screaming, crying, throwing up, and trying to first aid the stabbed guy. Michael says the whole plan was to get her to consent to the sex work. I don't think they know what consent means. He says that even though they were in prison, it was harder for him because he felt really bad about it. Erica stomps back into the house and demands to know where her mom is, and they immediately start whining about how they're going to make her their groupie. The big reveal is that someone posted videos of all of their crimes
It was obviously
online the day after, and that's why they all got in trouble, and they've assumed it was her. Erica says she doesn't feel bad that they all had to take accountability for their actions. But of course, it turns out they all had really good reasons for what they did. AKA the abusive cop, the crack house, whatever.
Okay.
So if she's their groupie for a while, they'll call it even. She tries to attack them with a knife again, and this time Michael comes to her defense. She tattles on them about how they drove her out to the country to try to intimidate her, and they deny it. Michael works it out in his head that Trevor was one of the ones who did it with the statutory offender, Damon, because he wanted to dissuade her from fucking his brother. Learning this reveals that it probably was Trevor who posted the videos because he grabbed the phone when it fell out of Erica's pocket. Erica uses the commotion from the reveal to get the hell out of Dodge, but Michael stops her by throwing a basketball at the open door and then stands there with his dick in his hand.
Ugh.
He tells her that her mom is in rehab and that he made a judge sign a court order to send her to rehab. So they made it seem like they had done something bad to her, but really they just made her go to rehab. They're all blubbering with their thumbs in their ass about the incorrect assumption they made that led them to ruin her life. She says that she wants to leave, but they say, no, you should stay and have a drink amongst friends. She says no and runs to her room, decides that she's going to get the fuck out of town after a good shower, and then comes out of the shower to hear a whole house party going on downstairs.
Naturally.
She confronts them about kidnapping her mom, burning her house down, and stealing her money, but they say they're really, really sorry.
So it's fine.
She says, you know what? I'm going to find the phone with the videos on it, and I'm going to use it to make you guys fix all the shit you did. Michael refuses to take full accountability, but at least the friends feel really bad and try hard to apologize. One of them comes to talk to her, and he looks really sad, and prison was really hard, so she lets it go. Michael comes to investigate and finds her in the room with his friend and tells her he wasn't really going to let her get hurt, and ultimately he was going to choose her over his friends if it came down to it.
No good.
She chastises him for being a little bitch, and it makes him super horny, and so she starts calling him the wrong name. He's so riled up that he runs downstairs and tells the whole party that she is horseman property, so they can't touch her. Of note, Alex, the sex worker friend, is at the party. She makes a point of saying that she won't find any clients here because they're mostly high schoolers.
You think?
A high school party hosted exclusively by adults.
Jewel pens.
Also of note, a full pro ball player just announced to a high school party that they better not touch his 19-year-old crush. Michael finally has an epiphany that he's probably going to have to be nice to her if he wants to fuck again.
Oh, you think?
Erica says, you said no guys could touch me. You didn't say no girls. So she decides to shoot her shot with Alex, and she's going to go to town with her in his bed.
She fucking roasted earlier, but whatever.
Exactly. He's very irritated that they clearly don't need him and orders Alex to leave with blue balls. Then he makes her get into his brother's bed, and she humps a pillow pretending it's him.
Oh my God, who wrote this?
Then they have sex in it, and it's all very romantic. He feels really bad about the whole burning her house down, stealing her money, and forcing her mom into rehab thing. So Erica goes back to school, and Michael has gone full babysitter, insisting to keep tabs on her. He is never nice and only ever wants to fuck.
Ew.
She gets sick of being a booty call and tells him she wants to go out. He tells her, don't tell me how to treat you. And then he takes her to go fencing at his weird men's club, and then to fuck in the steam room.
When I tell you,
Wait.
same as that guy, I would pinch his nuts.
She tells him that she loves him, and then one of his friends who was watching from the corner of the steam room chides him for not saying I love you back. So Kai, who was watching from the edge of the steam room, looks sad. So she decides to give him a pity fuck because he hasn't had any pussy since he went to prison. Her clit hums.
Oh my God!
Her clit hums with need and then throbs with fear, and Michael puts his finger in her butt.
Oh my God!
Then she fucks them both at the same time until she has the best orgasm ever.
I don't believe you, first off.
They ask if she's okay.
I'm not. Thanks for asking.
The first any of them has said anything nice to her in 3 years.
Fuck these people.
Michael is still harassing her, and she's ignoring him because he didn't tell her he loved her after she fucked him and his
How
friend
is this not over yet?
in the steam room at her gym. I know. So he sends the boys to go fetch her from getting coffee with her friends. He says she's not safe, but offers no explanation of what she's in danger of.
Nothing.
They chastise her for having sex with Trevor back in the day, and they tell her she isn't safe because maybe he has plans to hurt her while their parents are in Europe. She wakes up in the middle of the night to Damon standing in the hallway. He kidnaps her and takes her to Trevor on the family boat. He says he hates her for coming in between him and his friends, and he hates women, so he doesn't feel bad for anything that happens to her.
Right, because he had that little girlfriend.
Trevor says he wants to kill her and Michael, so he will be in charge of her money. Michael runs to the boat. There's a whole altercation where they boo-hoo about choosing Erica over the boys, and it ends with Trevor sinking to the bottom of the ocean, Damon getting injured and going MIA, and Michael finally telling her that he loves her. Her mom gets out of rehab, they get engaged and build a new house for her and get their happily ever after. Mind you, again, 19 years old. We don't get a happily ever after, however.
No, I've been in hell this whole time.
Because the book ends with another flashback where we learn that he has wanted her since he was 16 and she was 13. The end. Couldn't leave well enough alone. Had to stick that little epilogue in there.
With the underage and a friendly reminder that a grown woman wrote it.
And it ends with him saying, oh, she's already corrupted me. A 13-year-old to him 16.
Oh!
I would say, where are they now? Oh, all in jail, but they just got out of jail, you know? Well, the recidivism rate is high, so maybe they're back.
They're running back.
They're like, run, don't walk.
Run, baby, run. We're going to prison.
Run, don't walk. Back to jail. So, the reason I had to read this book.
There wasn't one.
You know there's Stuff Your Kindle Day?
Yeah, but I don't ever do it.
So they also have Stuff Your Earbuds Day.
Stuff Nothing Day.
I am an Audible slut. I always use all my credits within like a couple days of having them. So I was like, oh, Stuff Your Earbuds Day. I'm going to go on there. I'm going to nom, snatch up some of these titles that are free. So a TikTok was like, you know, these are the ones you should get on Stuff Your Earbuds Day. I said,
they lied.
That's where we got Tempt Me from, too. The one with the grizzly bear and the meat stick in her pocket. So I got a bunch of the free books or whatever, and I kind of like put them to the side. So I'm like, okay, next time I'm out of Audible credits, I can pick up one of these books from the corner, right?
Oh, thank God.
Right. Just, you know, in a pinch. I have Hoopla, Libby, and Audible. Hoopla has like all the really good
I don't know why you're telling me this. I couldn't care less if you hit me with a bus.
Okay, stop, because Henderson County Library kicked me off of their Hoopla.
Good.
They fucking snitched. They snitched. The libraries snitched to each other. They kicked me off the good Hoopla. Now I don't have any of my good titles anymore.
Why did they kick you off?
Because I got a library card at Buncombe County. Okay, so they kicked me off the good Hoopla. The new one has nothing good. I don't have anything available on Libby. So I'm forced.
I didn't do anything.
Because I had to read this. So I'm forced to go back to my Audible book.
Okay, first off, The person you should be yelling at and angry with is the person who wrote this abomination from hell.
I was the person who wrote to the library and told them to cancel your card.
Wasn't me.
I didn't know they talked to each other. I thought you could have 2 library cards.
There's a girl who has like 8. Did you see her? She like works for something and something free public something, and she has like every library in Texas.
I thought you were allowed. I was like, oh, I'll get 2 libraries now. No, they were like, they talked to each other. Listen, I literally have had the same library card for like 28 years. And they canceled it. And then I had to read this bullshit right here. And I was so mad at this
but they
book
don't
that then I read Manacle.
Because I got the Spartanburg one and my Hendersonville one still works.
Within the state.
Which I wonder if my Spartanburg one still works.
Within the state. Like the state libraries talk to each other. Then I read this and it was so bad. I needed to read something that was not so bad. So then I read Manacled. So I have been just kicked the shit out of.
First, Manacled's good.
Fiction.
Secondly,
no, but it hurt. They both hurt. No, I would have not finished this book if it weren't for this podcast. I would not have finished. I would have DNF'd.
I wouldn't have done it either.
The minute
it's horrible.
The first chapter was annoying because it was whenever she was like getting ready for that party and her tits barely fit the dress.
You want to know where she got that from? Sydney Sweeney. She was like, oh.
No, this is from 20... I'm sorry, I thought that Monster by Skillet gave away that this is from like 2012.
that thing.
So Sydney Sweeney was not popular yet. The minute that that guy was walking by her desk and they were like, yeah, these 4 grown men are going to roll for peen and puss at the local high school, I would have been DNF. DNF.
What are you doing? Trump for weed?
When I say if you like support, you can rate, review, subscribe.
Yeah, where's that lady?